Welcome everyone to the cleanup step. This is January something or other. I don't actually remember the date off the top of my head. And unfortunately, Kyle is sick today. He went to the GP and got the ever-present con flu. So we have with us today Rich. Say hi, Rich.
Hi there.
And of course, as always, we have Justin with us.
Hello.
So today we're going to start off real quick with just talking about some of our favorite Magic memories. Now, if you listen to the most recent episode, then you know that you have heard my Magic memory about playing against a player who was using Laboratory Maniac and causing him to accidentally draw himself out before the spell had resolved. I'm actually not going to talk about that one though, because I already did. So it'd be kind of redundant. Instead, we'll talk about the modern tournament where I actually lose in this story, but I psyched out the other player, and it was beautiful. This is just after Pod has been banned, Birthing Pod, which allowed you to reanimate stuff relatively cheaply, so it would combo off, and you could use it to get lots of free stuff. Well, at this time, people were trying to figure out how to make Pod without Pod, because Birthing Pod was banned. Very, very recently, too. So I'm over at not my normal store, which I work at Comic Collector Shop. That's my normal store. I was over at Channel Fireball in this modern tournament. This guy has Malira down, who prevents -1/-1 counters from being on creatures. He has Kitchen Finks, who when it dies, it comes back with -1/-1, and he gains 3 life. And he has something that gives him creature tokens every time a creature enters the battlefield. So he sacks Kitchen Finks endlessly, gets infinite life, infinite tokens, and he holds out his hand to me and he says, "Good game?" And I stop and I go, "Yeah, thanks for conceding." And I grab his hand and I shake it, and he goes, "No, you're conceding." And I went, "No, I don't remember saying that. If you want to concede, that's cool." But and he kind of gets this look on his face, and I'm like, "Hey, I win next turn." And suddenly he goes from, "You just said you were going to concede," to, "Oh god, how is this red, white, blue control player going to defeat my infinite tokens, infinite life? What is he holding?" I was holding nothing. My turn comes up, draw a card, untap, pass. He swings for lethal. But in that moment, I had this beautiful second of trolling that made me so happy. So that is probably one of my favorite Magic memories. What about you, Justin?
So mine wasn't a particular moment, it was more of a weekend. About last year, I went to my very first Penny Arcade Expo, PAX West, over in Seattle. And this was right before the set Kaladesh came out. And I went to the Magic opening show where they sat you in an auditorium and they had cardboard cutouts of not even main characters, but it was like random like Aetherborns and whatnot from the world of Kaladesh. They outfitted the entire auditorium to make it look like it was in Kaladesh, and they had this like crazy cool like opening show with Christine Sprankle as Chandra and another girl as Sahili Rai, and they had a lot of just fanfare and celebration going on. And even then, during the whole weekend, they sectioned off an entire street and set up their own inventors fair where they invited a lot of crafts makers and like people to just work with their hands from the local areas, and had them sitting in these tents and blowing glass and making jewelry and just making things. And it just felt like you were in the world of Kaladesh.
That is really cool.
So I do remember that, and it just left an impact on me. So yeah, that's my favorite memory.
Very cool.
That is cool. Well, I have a few favorite memories, and in the short time that I played, the best one I think is when my son took second at the store championship a couple of weeks ago, and he was really stoked about that. And the other ones are
He took out some good players too.
Yeah, he took out almost everybody in the store.
Yeah, and my son's 10, so that's what I was really happy about. And he was the one that has been playing for a couple of years now. And the other memories, there were numerous ones, It's pretty much when he opens a booster pack and he sees a really valuable or a cool card that he loves, and his face lights up. It's really cool. It's a lot of fun to watch.
Yeah.
All right.
Cool. But he's going to have a lot of fun opening up for the pre-release, though, because there are so many cool cards coming out. I'm so excited.
A lot of really good commander cards, it looks like.
Oh, yeah. Probably a lot of people are going to be running Azor, but I'm more worried about what I'm going to run when I actually open stuff up at the pre-release. I'm probably going to end up playing the morning one if it's slow enough on Saturday. And I'm really, really hoping my card pool lets me run pirates or vampires. Now, personally, I think vampires are stronger, but I love Stormfleet Sprinter, which is it might not be called Stormfleet Sprinter. What is it? It's the 2/2 for 3, blue and a red with haste that is unblockable, and I can't. You know what? You're right. I definitely should go with Magic Spoiler because this is not helpful unsorted. I'm not gonna lie. Anyways, so it looks like a super fun card. That and the one that flashes in the 3-drop Crafty Cut Purse. You flash it in, and when when a token will be created under somebody else's control, it's created under your control instead. Those are just really funny cards, but I think aggro vampires, especially with Forerunner of the Legion, is going to be great. Although, actually, oh god, I just noticed a combo. You use Time Stream Navigator with Forerunner of the Coalition. Forerunner of the Coalition is the 3-drop that lets you search your library for a pirate card, reveal it, shuffle it in your library, put that card on top, and when another pirate enters, you lose 1. That first bit, though, is important. The one that's, hey, every time it comes in, you search, right? So you search for Time Stream Navigator. So you play Time Stream Navigator, you ascend, so you have the City's Blessing, you have 10 permanents, you pay for, tap it, you put it on the bottom of your library, and you take an extra turn after this one if you have the City's Blessing, which, that's why you would do it. Then you play Forerunner of the Coalition, search Time Stream Navigator, put Time Stream Navigator on top, draw it on your extra turn, play it again, play it again. You couldn't make it infinite, not in limited anyways. I mean, you could barely make it work in limited, right? Like, it's a mythic and an uncommon. The chances of getting that in 4 packs are pretty slim. But if you did, that would just be so fun. Like, that would be my ideal pull to build a deck around.
One thing I did notice about the set is there are a lot of reprints from Ixalan. And I think that is actually pretty cool. Like something like Legion Conquistador, the 3-mana 2/2. When it comes into play, you search all copies of Legion Conquistador from your deck and put them in your hand. What I find interesting about that is in previous sets, they've had cards similar to that, and when the next set comes out, those cards immediately become stone cold playable. Because in draft, that's going to be 1 pack out of the 3 that has that card. So now you're going to be able to draft Legion Conquistador from both Rivals of Ixalan and the base set Ixalan. And it makes it doesn't make the card any less unplayable. I think that's actually pretty cool on their part.
Yeah, Vampires has a lot of really good stuff. What particularly caught my eye, and I tended to look at the rares and stuff just because I gloss over uncommons so hard, is Paladin of Atonement. 2-drop 1/1 at the beginning of each upkeep. If you lost life, put a 1/1 counter on it, and then when it dies, you gain life equal to its toughness. And so I can see that being fairly strong and limited against a lot of the aggro decks, because I know now this is draft, so it's not a 1-to-1, but I know it was pretty much draft red, white, and win for Ixalan. And I feel like there's probably going to be a lot of the more casual players who are kind of going in with that mindset, who see the cool dinosaurs and stuff, and Paladin of Atonement really helps to mitigate the losses you would take from that. Plus, the card art's sick, and I'm a sucker for good card art.
Are you looking to draft anything in particular, Rich?
Not anything particular, though. The really big dinosaurs really attract me. I guess that's the little kid in me. When I see, for example, like Galta, Primal Hunger, legendary creature, Elder Dinosaur, 12/12 for at least 12 mana.
Yeah.
And but it costs one less for every creature that you have, every power, the cumulative power that your creature has.
You just think back to Little Rich with the plastic dinosaurs going, "Stop!"
No, just seeing an opponent's face, when you slam something like a 12-12.
12-12 for 4? Wait, what? Because you can get it down there. Yeah. Oh, man, yeah.
A lot of the cards are really sweet. I'm actually really looking forward to them in Commander, mainly because if we don't get a banning, I don't see how most of these cards can make that much of an impact against energy.
Yeah.
But I do like the reprint of Negate is actually one of my favorites because it has a really, really cool line of flavor text. It reads, "As one nature lifts its voice to tell you this, no." And it's just like, it makes sense for a counter spell. Just like, this is the word no on a card.
I mean, that should really just have been the counterspell, as Richard Garfield intended. just no should be the name of the card.
Yeah.
I don't know why I even bothered calling it counterspell.
But they did go really above and beyond in terms of flavor, in terms of just a lot of the flavor text and the naming schemes, even the art. There's a green card. I forget what it does, but in the art, it's a little goblin pirate getting eaten by a dinosaur, and his it quotes his name at the bottom in the flavor text, and it turns out he's actually related to the same goblin that got hit by lightning on the card Lightning Strike in Ixalan. They're actually related. They have the same last name.
Oh man, that's bad. You were saying though that you don't think anything will affect Temur Energy. I'm wondering
really
if like Sphinx's Decree. I feel like that does give control a lot of legs. Temur Energy, I know runs like Harness Lightning and stuff, and so being able to lock your opponent out of board control for a turn seems like it would be decent. I don't really play Standard, so I can't make a 100% guarantee, but just like 2 for each opponent can't cast instant or sorcery spells during their next turn is a pretty strong lead-in. How many?
The problem is Temur Energy only runs about 8, which 4 being Attune with Ether and 4 being Harness Lightning. This is pre-sideboard, and Attune with Ether, like, you're gonna cast it on turn 1 most of the time, or if you top deck it, you're just gonna cast it late game just for the energy. You're not really casting it for the land.
Yeah.
The problem with Temur Energy is it curves out super easily. Like, they have about 8 2-drops in the deck. And if you get your mana rock little energy producer, you can have a turn 4 Bristling Hydra, which is a 4/3, and you can give it hexproof at will and buff it. It's just a very tough deck to control, and it also has a lot of recovery too. Not in the way it gets stuff back from the graveyard, but in the way that everything they play is a threat. Like a Rogue Refiner is a 3/2 for 3. It may not seem like a threat, but hey, I've closed out games with just that 3/2. Because it replaces itself with card draw and gives you energy in the process to buff up a Long Tusk Cub or a Hydra down the line. Or to make a Thopter with Whirler Virtuoso. And not only that, since it's in Temur colors and sometimes in 4 colors, it has access to counter spells, and they usually pack 4 negates in the sideboard. It's just overall, I think the only bad matchup for it, and it's not even that bad of a matchup, is tokens. Like Grixis Thopters or Abzan tokens or something. Those are actually pretty good matchups against Temur Energy. The problem is they just lose to everything else. Yeah, I like, outside of a banning, I really don't know how other decks are going to be able to compete with Temur Energy. I do see Merfolks and Pirates getting a huge power boost, and Vampires actually in the next set. But we'll see if they can curve out as easily and as quickly.
It would be really unfortunate if this was kind of a lame, what do you call it? A lame Standard set and a really good Commander set. Like, I care more about Commander than Standard, but when nobody's having fun in the store, it hurts me because it hurts the number of, it hurts the people coming in.
I know a lot of other stores, because we usually just do draft for Friday Night Magic, but a lot of stores that do a lot of Standard, their attendance has dropped dramatically.
Yeah, because you're going to play the same thing. What was it? You were telling us the story about second day of the GP. you were not playing energy and your opponent wasn't playing energy, and you drew a crowd because people were like, it's not team or mirror match,
people
guys.
Were excited because I like on the main event day, I actually took Temur Energy because it is the best deck in the format. I was looking to win, and almost every one of my rounds was a mirror match, and those like they may be interesting, but man, playing that mirror match, going to time every round, it was so boring.
Yeah.
Like, I know in the shop we do have this unwritten like agreement that we don't like if it's not a super competitive event, none of us really bring Teamer. Like I know Rich, you've been playing Approach of the Second Sun in the most recent weeks. How have you been enjoying that?
Oh, it's been fun. It's a departure for me. I'm still new player and I'm still exploring different things. But I don't know. I started out with mono red and I love turning creatures sideways and just going for it, pedal to the floor.
Yeah. It's pretty mono red and like a lot of the aggressive decks are pretty self-explanatory.
I really want to do red blue aggro for this. I'm actually probably going to get into standard with a relatively cheap because I saw Stormfleet Sprinter Water Runner. I wish I could remember the name of the card. Anyways, I saw that card and I knew it's my time to play red blue aggro and just beat face because 2/2 unblockable haste. Man,
I'm actually looking forward to building a black white. Yeah, I mean, if Teamer does get a ban or if Teamer does drop in power and I'm wrong, I am actually looking to build black white because that was a big favorite of mine a few years ago, black white control, and they're giving vampires a lot of support. So even if I'm not playing control, at least I'm still playing black white. I do like the life gain aspect, all the board wipes because we have that new 3 mana white board wipe. That's pretty good.
Yeah.
It's a 3 mana sorcery, 2 white,
Sprinter,
and it destroys all creatures with a power 4 or greater. I think like in certain cases against Teamer that might actually be pretty good. Like it kills a buffed up Long Tusk Cub, it kills a Bristling Hydra, kills a Glorybringer. Glorybringer's huge in the Teamer deck. Like I played 4 just to beat the mirror match. So I think that board wipe might actually help quite a bit. Like going back to like your blue white too, Blood Moon, or Blood Sun, not Blood Moon. I see that actually doing pretty well against a lot of the non-basic lands we have in the format. We have some pretty powerful ones right now.
Not quite Blood Moon. Definitely gonna be an equalizer for a couple of cycles, no matter what gets printed in like Dominaria.
Yeah.
Because it is that kind of alright, this isn't working, let's reset to basics. So
as a mono red player, Rich, how do you feel about Blood Sun in a mono red deck too? I know like because it shuts off Search for Azcanta. That's pretty sweet.
That is pretty sweet because I've played Search for Azcanta in my blue-white approach deck, and I really enjoy the value of the extra scrying.
It's a very strong card.
No. A lot of the lands and stuff are very strong, and I don't think this set's any different. Storm the Vault isn't bad, but specifically thinking about
Storm the Vault, I'm mainly excited for Commander.
Yeah, Profane Procession. While it's kind of expensive, I could definitely see potentially like a white-black control rising up around it because it does let you hit 3 different cards, and they're just exiled.
That might actually be my favorite one. I really like that one a lot. But that's also the Orzhov player in me.
Yeah, and the thing is, I can see it. I can see it running just because if you can ramp out that mana fast enough, you can definitely hit people. It'll probably not pan out. I've never been good at predicting standard, but
I'm sort of disappointed in a way because every other tribe got more legendaries, but Pirates didn't get another legendary.
Oh yeah.
Like, what's up with that? We got that Sphinx that looks like it belongs on a Ravnica, but we didn't get another pirate legend.
Well, we kind of did. So here's the thing: Angrath. He's a planeswalker. He's a planeswalker, so you can use him as a commander.
Like I was looking for another like Grixis commander. Like.
Yeah. I mean, red black isn't a great. It's good, but it's not a great commander.
Yeah. It is cool that vampires and merfolk both got 2-mana lords though.
Oh yeah.
I think those decks were missing early drops a lot, and a 2-mana 2/2 that buffs up all other of their tribe.
Yeah.
That's gonna help a lot for those decks. And man, getting one of those in limited, if you build around it, man, I see it being very powerful.
Defo. Did I really just say Defo? Oh god, I did. Anyways, the Forerunners are my favorite cycle to be added to anything. All the hunt for, because we had from Lorwyn, because this is how many cards I look through every day. Oh God, please help. From Lorwyn we had the not Herald. Were they the Heralds? They were we had one for Elementals, which that's a creature type that never sees play. We had one for Kithkin, which that's a creature type that hasn't existed. So I think they printed one card in M15 that was a Kithkin, and then nothing between like 2003 and 2016 was anything printed, and nothing's been printed since. And then they had one for Merfolk and one for Treefolk, and like Merfolk is the only one that sees play. Yeah. So it's definitely good because Vampires is, especially with the recent Commander deck release, that is an actual Commander deck that people build, and Pirates is something that I've been seeing a lot of people do, and Dinosaurs. Oh, I'm so excited for Dinosaurs.
I think I actually do like the Forerunners a lot. One, they're in the common uncommon slot, which is really nice. And I'm a big fan of putting cards like that in the common uncommon slot because they're so big and important in limited formats.
Yeah.
Because anything to make limited formats more reliable, more streamlined, more in a way, like it helps you draw certain cards a lot better. Like you can go for your bomb if you feel like it. And it's nice that it doesn't put it in your hand. There's a slight downside where it puts it on top of your deck. You gotta wait till next turn to do it. But it also gives you upsides when you do play those cards. Like one of them drains life, one of them like deals damage and whatnot. Like I do think that's really cool.
Yeah, I'm just excited for limited in this set in general. I very rarely actually take time out to play in the pre-releases, mostly because just I'm running them, right? But I want to make the time for this one because I'm looking at these cards and it's this kind of thing that's making me love Magic again.
Yeah.
Not that I ever fell out of love, but you know, I have other hobbies and it just
One thing I'm actually really excited about, I'm actually really happy about, is they're continuing their tradition from Ixalan of making mythics feel like mythics rather than like just chase cards.
Yeah.
Because like a lot of these mythics aren't going to see play in standard. So like, what was it? Azor's Gateway? That's not going to see play in standard.
Azor the Lawbringer, Kamena Tyrant of Orazka, and like you said, they feel mythic. I think the only one who falls short of the mark is Wally.
Yeah. Like they all feel mythic, and I like that rather than just like making them a beast in standard. Because what are they? They just good in standard. They don't feel like mythics, but now you got to get 4 of them for your standard deck. It's going to cost you an arm and a leg. Like I never really liked that about the past mythic like rarities, like the cards they put in the mythic rarities.
Yeah.
So that is really cool. Also they depowered a lot of the flip lands too. Except for a few, like Storm the Vault is still like a Tolarian Academy, but it looks like a lot of the flip lands are very depowered. Like one of the Boros one just pings your opponent, or the black green one reanimates a creature, but for 5 mana. So they don't look as powerful as they did in the last in Ixalan. Because in Ixalan, like what was it? Growing Rats of Itlamog, the Gaia's Cradle flip. That one is pretty powerful, whereas like also Search for Escanto was busted. That card's just busted.
But like Growing Rights of Islamok really got overhyped, and I unfortunately it's not recorded. I wish it was, but I kind of saw that coming because it was like, yeah, it's fantastic, but also like you have to be allowed to keep those creatures, and
It's also interesting that they toned down on the what was it, the abilities in the set. Like we only got one new one, Ascend.
Yeah, and Ascend is we've talked about that in previous episodes, but it's not It's cool. I like that it can't be messed with. I don't think it's going to end up being like Energy, which, what was it? Cal was talking about it last time, was they didn't want to print anything that could mess with Energy because they were afraid if they did, no one would play it.
Well, like Energy, you can't really mess with Ascend, but unlike Energy, Ascend doesn't fire off until like, turn 5 or something, until you have 10 permanents, pretty much.
Yeah.
So it's not like Energy where you just like turn 2 long, it's like turn 1 attune into turn 2 long tusk cup and just go out of the gates firing with the 3-3.
And you have it forever, but it's not overly powerful. And there's no. I speculated last time that there might be some kind of downside to having the Blessing of the City, but if there is, I haven't seen it.
Yeah.
I haven't exhaustively like plunged through the card list, so it's possible I missed it. But I legitimately am not seeing a downside to having the Blessing of the City. And that's actually not a bad thing, because looking at most of the cards that do give you something for having the Blessing of the City, it's not so overpowered that I'm like, God, why didn't they print something to make this feel better? It's fine. It's okay. Which I feel like after we had seen it the first time was kind of our overall reaction was, it's okay.
Yeah. I mean, Rich, are there any cards you want to brew around for standard in this set? Is there anything that makes you excited other than the big green dino?
Well, it's another dino. Green dino. It's the Polyraptor.
Oh yeah, that looks crazy.
5/5 that when it takes damage, this enrage trigger creates a copy of it.
Yeah.
So you can ping that one too.
Yeah. People are already trying to look to break that one.
There's an infinite combo in here. Give me a second. Let me see. Oh yeah, it's Forerunner of the Empire. It's literally the Forerunner is whenever a dinosaur enters the battlefield, you may have it deal 1 damage to each creature. So Dino enters 1 damage. Although I guess Forerunner would only survive 3 times.
Yeah.
Never mind. That does not work.
I mean, it is Polyraptor is pretty cool. Like it's silly.
Still, that's 3 Polyraptors.
Yeah. And like
there's
so many things in like Commander that you can do with it to make infinite dinos.
Oh,
and then I think it's cool just for the fact that you're saying like, hey, I'm gonna make infinite dinos. Like
the one thing to point out though is so for a long time for the past couple weeks I've been like, yeah, infinite dinos. I realized once you reach 5 damage, 5 times of repeating the cycle via damage, the first dino dies.
So in Commander, you can do something like Aether Flash, where it deals 2 damage to every creature that enters play.
Right. So it's I saw that. So it's just dealing damage to the one that just entered, which makes another one.
Either if you're doing that, you're playing Gruul, which means you probably have access to haste. Or you land something like a Perforos.
Oh yeah, Perforos would be vicious. Anyways, I'm just gonna infinite 1 damage to the face, guys. Have a nice day.
I mean, there's either easier ways to do it, but nothing's flashier than going, hey, I'm gonna charge over you with like infinite dinos.
No. What is flashier is having them all be foil.
Oh my god.
Foil and signed.
Alright, Wizards, get on it. Make some Polyraptor tokens for us.
It would be really cool though, like, this is total tangent, I'm aware of that, but it would be really cool if Wizards did the new tokens as actual different art, not just foil, like different art tokens with like, even if it's just, printed, it's not actually a signature, just the signature of the artist along the bottom, like make it look like something I actually want to collect and not something I'm going to throw into my box and then crush in half.
That's actually a big question I wanted to ask you, Rich, because the main reasoning that Wizards said of getting rid of FNM promos is they were seeing a lot of spikes going to FNM just to grind for promos, and it would shove a lot of the more casual folk out. What's your opinion on them replacing playable FNM promos with tokens?
I don't like it, actually. I mean, I would much rather have a playable card than a token, but still, a lot of the tokens look really good, and some of them we use for this intended purpose, the vampire tokens, the pirate token.
Others go in Alex's bicycle spoke.
Yeah, like, I have a stack of them at home that I just don't use because I like bringing my own tokens from home, custom tokens. I don't really use Wizards' default token that often.
Right. But, I would like to see the return of the FNM promo cards.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, for example, the Fatal Push was a huge draw at the shop,
Yeah.
right? And I know I went there because there was a chance that I could get one.
Yeah.
And so did my son.
And like, if you do win one, there always is a chance because Mike does separate the pods based on experience.
Yeah, there's that, and then I also did top and bottom got it.
Yeah.
So it's also something to look at
Yeah.
for Wizards, and they actually did the exact opposite of this recently. I got a missive from them that said, "Hey, after a promo's out of rotation, do whatever you want with it."
Yeah.
But it's something for them to look at how shops are giving out the promos, because I know shops that just give out the promos to the top. I know shops like I know there's a store in the area that gives out the promos. They give out the new promos to the top people, and then they give out old promos to other people, and that's cool. Like that works. I don't go to that store for other reasons, but their promo policy is nice.
Yeah.
Like
I know Aether Hubs and Fatal Pushes were just really nice, especially for a lot of the younger kids that just were having trouble. Like, they were having trouble grasping their head around, like, paying $8 for an uncommon. Like, it's like, even me, like, I don't feel like most of the time paying $8 for an uncommon feels good.
Yeah, no.
So to get it as a promo and to have it, or to use it as trade bait for, like, something flashy, like a rare, I think that's pretty cool.
Oh, I think that those promos look great.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like the Aether Hub promo was beautiful.
Yeah. Plus, they all had alternate art, and they looked amazing. Yeah.
Really, that's the big thing, I think, is the fact that it's the same art as the regular tokens. It's just foil. Is like, if they had done alternate art tokens, and then they like literally just again like printed the artist signature on it so that it looked different, I think that would do fantastically. But as it is, like it looks exactly the same. It's just shiny. So why, when I already have 1,000,000 vampire tokens, I don't need another 1/1 vampire token. I don't need another. Well, okay, the 3/3 Dino token is new. I do need those, but I open enough boxes. I don't need 2/2 zombies. I don't need 1/1 goblins. I have so many of those. If you make it shiny, that's cute, but people have been selling those online for years. I could have already gotten them. It's not enough of a draw.
I know plenty of players that just like using their own custom ones.
2 weeks ago, we had enough promos for everybody, and we forgot to give them out. And nobody asked me about the promos. Not a single person came up and went, "I'll take my packs. Oh, and my promo, please." Me, my employee, and all of, like, I think it was like 10 players that week. It was 8 or 10. All of us forgot the promos even existed.
Like, if it was a Fatal Push, or even something like a Renegade Rally, which didn't see that much play, but it's still a promo, people would have reminded you. It's like, hey, you forgot my promo.
Yeah, I can use this card. It looks cool. It's different. But I mean, there's a lot of reasons that people get into Magic and start playing, and I think that's a good time to segue into the main point of this show, which the whole reason that Rich is with us today, actually. Yeah. So how did you get into Magic, Rich?
Well, I got into Magic because of my son. My son's 10, and last year during
I thought it was 2 years ago. Or no, when you got into Magic, that's right.
Yeah, when I got into Magic, I took him to the Aether Revolt pre-release, and I was just sitting there watching, and he was having fun playing against the other people that were there. And I looked at it, and I said, this might be a good way to spend some time with my son and bond with him. And as I watched the game, I said, oh, this looked like it could be pretty cool. So I just started, playing with him and collecting cards. First, I started collecting the cards as pieces of art. I'd look through the singles box and I see a cool picture, and I pick it up, and then I started playing.
So, what did you think about the game when you first started? Like, was it anything? Like, have you played any games like it in the past, or?
Actually, no. I remember when Magic the Gathering first came out back in the early '90s, and I really didn't pay that much attention to it. And I was in school at the time, so that was pretty much it. And then so it wasn't until last year that I started playing.
Were you really a gamer before Magic though, or?
Not really. I played Dungeons and Dragons, role-playing games, several role-playing games while I was in high school. But once I went to college, that sort of dropped off, and it wasn't until last year.
Oh, okay.
As opposed to turning it into your career while you're in school like I did.
Oh, yeah. Like, you were talking about how your son got into Magic. Have you played other games with him? Like, has he played games like Yu-Gi-Oh or Pokemon or anything?
He started out with Yu-Gi-Oh, and he loved Pokemon. I couldn't really get into Pokemon, and he wanted me to play Yu-Gi-Oh with him, and so he had some cards, and we played Yu-Gi-Oh a little bit. It really didn't pique my interest, but Magic seemed to.
Okay. What did you feel like were the differences?
Between Yu-Gi-Oh and Magic?
Like, what made you, like, decide that you couldn't play Yu-Gi-Oh, but Magic, you know, this particular piece of cardboard is not for me, but this is truly superior, a man's game.
Because they do both sort of have that nerdy stigma, like.
Oh, God,
Right, and like I said, in high school, I was a nerd, and I played these Dungeons and Dragons and a lot of different role-playing games. So, I'm the nerd stigma. You know, is I guess I still carry it as a badge of honor. I guess.
So did you play games with them back? Because I know you're new to the area about like a year ago, right?
No, I actually grew up in this.
Okay.
I grew up here, and I moved to Louisiana about 20 years ago almost.
Oh wow.
And then I, for school and other things, and then I stayed there, and then we moved back.
Oh, yeah.
But
did you guys play Magic down there, or did you actually start playing here? Okay.
He started playing here. He was started playing Pokemon and Yu-Gi-Oh, and he got into Magic. And I don't know if I looked at Yu-Gi-Oh and said, oh, that I can't play this, but I can play Magic. But that just seems to be what he was into at the time, and so I figured I could spend some quality time with him by playing the same game that he does, and that we fed off of each other, and now he's kind of obsessed.
Kind of.
Do you ever find it hard to like sort of pull yourself away and tell him like, hey, no, we gotta go home, even though you sort of want to play too a little bit more?
Yeah. Well, sometimes we have to be an adult, but only sometimes.
Yeah. You gotta be a dad still and say, hey, you gotta go to bed on time.
Yeah, we gotta go. Come on,
yeah.
Right? Getting him out of the store.
There's always that. Man. Hey, one more game.
Oh, I remember the Magic board game with you guys. You had left. Your wife was in the store. She had just come to pick him up. He had gotten like 15 extra minutes. He was supposed to pick up and leave immediately the moment she came in. And instead, he managed to con her into like another 15, 20 minutes by going, no, but one more turn. Let me finish my turn. No, let them finish their turns. No, but what about my last turn? And I'm like, no, but that was your last turn.
My son is going to be a lawyer, I think, when he grows up. Because
hey, he's the control player out of you two, right?
Yeah. Yes, that is the thing. He likes playing control. I don't know if that says something towards his character. Very much. But like I said, I like playing aggro, and he likes playing control.
What does your wife think actually about this hobby that you jumped in?
Yeah.
She must notice some of the expenditures and stuff, right?
Yeah. She doesn't enjoy seeing the cards around the house. But yeah.
I mean,
yeah, she looks at it. She thinks it's a good thing that I'm taking an interest, and we share this bond, and yeah. And
I mean, some dads go out and play catch with their sons on the weekend. You go and play cards with your son. It's like a bonding moment, right?
It is. It is. We sometimes we walk to the shop and we talk, and he makes up these games of let's play Magic, let's play, standard, and he'll come up with these, turn 1, I'll do this, and turn 2, well, what do you do? Turn 3,
Is that what you do the play test at home too? Or?
Yeah, pretty much. But it's
you on the toilet, him outside the door. Dad, turn 1.
So turn 1, and he sees it.
You ever punish him like, hey, no magic this week?
Well, it is a draw for him because he said you have to get this done, or you have to be good, or you have to or else you're going to lose your privilege to go to D&D or go play Magic.
Yeah. No Saturday Standard Showdown.
Yeah.
No,
exactly.
No asking Mike about this combo. That's really, frankly, too convoluted.
It just means he's creative.
I don't know. He comes up with some really good stuff. What would you say though is like the hardest part about gaming with him? Like, what's the biggest drawback?
The biggest drawback, he's pretty obsessed with the game. And so he'll always, like you said, I'm sitting on the toilet and he's like knocking on the door, Dad, turn 1, or Dad, look at this card. And I'm just like, hold on.
No card talk before my morning coffee. That's how this works.
I mean, at least with Magic, he's using his brain. He's thinking of strategies. He's just not like throwing it away in like some useless hobby.
That's what I was looking at, and the social aspect.
Yeah.
I really enjoy that he's out there and he's interacting with people, and it keeps him off the video games. Though he loves watching Magic videos.
I mean, again, at least he's thinking, he's predicting. It's a slightly more interactive than just watching TV.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, how I tell people about like what Magic is, I just tell them it's a more colorful version of chess. Like you're constantly trying to think 3 turns ahead of your opponent.
Oh man,
trying to outmaneuver your opponent, trying to expect what's in their hand and stuff.
I'm stealing that one. That's really good.
It's chess with knights and dragons.
Yeah. And the knowledge base. My son reads cards, watches videos, and as a matter of fact, just at the GP, we ran into Nick, and he was talking about the legacy deck that he played. And then Nick would mention a card, and I go, I don't know what that does. Right? And my son would be like, oh, that's this card. It does this, and it has.
Oh man, don't get suckered into getting the legacy, Rich. That's a slippery slope.
Yeah. First, it's gonna be legacy. Next thing you know, you're getting a second mortgage.
Yeah, that's all. It's like, hey, it's either your first car or a legacy deck.
No, the first car is definitely cheaper.
But like, did you guys do anything at the GP? Like,
we walked around, we saw the artists, and we looked for people that we knew. He got to meet the professor, and he got a picture with him. And
that's cool.
And I don't know the lady's name that was dressed up as Admiral Beckett Brass.
Ashlyn Rose. Yeah.
Oh yeah, that was a really cool cosplay. You showed me a picture of that. I'll probably ask you for it so I can put it up. But anyways,
it was sort of cool. Like I got to see a lot of like well-known personalities in the community, a lot of pros, a lot of YouTubers there, and it sort of did feel like a small it felt like a Magic convention in a way. Mm-hmm. Has he talked about wanting to compete next year?
Yes. Yes, definitely.
If I know Alex, and I know Alex pretty well, that's probably all he's been talking about for like the last 2 weeks.
He's gonna give Dana a run for her money, right?
Oh man.
Oh yeah.
No, especially after taking second though, like he's
proven himself to be a competent player. He knows. Like, I mean, he took Mardu vehicles, which isn't very seen nowadays, but he knew how to pilot it well. He knew how to metagame for Temur Energy. He was able to take down quite a few Tier 1 decks with it.
I'm just going to have to learn so much because he's going to ask me so many questions.
Now he's just got a race. What was it? She said her goal is to be the youngest member to make day 2.
Yes.
Alex sort of has to. Alex has some challenges now.
Oh yeah.
Yes. But he was saying that he wants to be. Well, now he wants to be a pro Magic player when he grows up.
Yeah, okay.
Like,
Alright.
It's a good aspiration. Maybe
than,
look towards some other goals too.
yes. better than pro D&D player.
Oh my
God.
I mean, the nice thing is he is in a good community at the shop. A good chunk of the shop are programmers and computer nerds and doctors and lawyers and stuff. So he does have a lot of people to converse with. In like 10 or so years, when he is around that age where he isn't about to look for college majors and whatnot, he has a lot of people to talk to about it.
Not to mention the workforce is not what you know, but who you know.
Yeah, exactly. Like there's quite a few people at the store that was able to get other players at the store jobs.
Yeah, and not piddly jobs either. This was programming gigs, like because one of them came in, our very own Kyle came in. He was hanging out, talking around, and he's like, "Oh yeah, I was just out of a job." And one of the other players had been bugging me to apply. I know crap all about programming. He was just trying to hit his referral bonus for the company he works for, and I'm like, "Oh hey, yeah, go talk to him. He's definitely looking for programmers." And like 2 weeks later, he had a job.
Yeah. So I guess it could be worse as a hobby.
Yeah.
he could be with a worse group of people.
It could be juggling knives blindfolded while dancing.
But at least you take solace in the fact that he is around a good group of people, and it is nice that you are monitoring it, like making sure he's not getting too obsessed, making sure there is a good balance between like homework and magic.
Oh yeah. Oh, definitely homework. Homework he has to do first.
Yeah.
Anything else?
Does he have any other hobbies outside of magic? Does he do sports or anything? Or?
He likes D&D. He loves dancing. He takes
interesting.
He takes a break dancing class.
Oh, cool.
He's just sort of getting into parkour.
Oh wow.
Which is
very cool.
the free running.
Yeah.
Where kind of American Ninja Warriors kind of stuff.
It's a little flashier than the traditional free running.
Yeah.
Right.
Lots of flips and stuff you don't necessarily need to do, but look really cool.
So, do you play D&D with him at all?
No, I haven't gotten back into that.
Okay.
The slippery slope of rolling a d20 at your wife. What were you doing? Nothing. Did you just roll a bluff check? No.
I mean, the upside is at least D&D is a bit of a cheaper hobby than Magic, as long as you don't get too far into it.
It is, as long as you don't get into the miniatures.
Yeah, of course,
miniatures are so lovely.
They're so pretty, but they're so expensive.
I mean, I don't know. I might have a few miniatures back at the house. From
it is cool though. Like Magic lets him flex his mental muscle, whereas D&D lets him flex his more creative side.
Oh yeah, I mean, ever since he was small, we played a game. I guess it would be a fantasy game. He calls it the game, and it's. Hey, when you're like 6 years old,
I know, it's cute and funny, okay?
And we take on personas of either Force Field, who is a superhero with superpowers.
Yeah.
Pretty much anything.
Is it force field based superpowers? It sounds like force field based superpowers.
No, it could be anything. And then there's Gadget Guy. Gadget Guy is the guy who is like Iron Man, and he can he has an armor and all this stuff, and he makes up gadgets that do things. And then go out and fight. What were the things from the Power Rangers that came up out of the cracks?
There's a couple different ones. There's the putties, the not. I want to say GoBots, but that wasn't the name of them.
No, it starts with an M. I can't remember.
That's the thing. Each
I think each season has a different group of villains.
Each series had different villains, and different villains had their own versions of guy in spandex who gets kicked by rangers.
So we started out with that. We called it the game, and then we played that. Imaginary things, monsters would come up out of this, out of the ground. And
I mean, in regards to your son's gaming, have you gotten comments from other parents about it? Like, oh, I can't believe your son plays Magic. I can't believe he's wasting his money. Any of those kind of comments?
No, not those kind of comments. So he is a bit disappointed. He's trying to get his friends interested in D&D and Magic. And a lot of his peers are into Pokemon.
Oh, okay.
And so I don't know. I guess he is a little bit like, oh, I am so past Pokemon.
Yeah. I mean, I'm still into Pokemon,
but
I mean, it is sort of hard to fight back against a trend, I guess. Like, if Pokemon's a fad at his school and he's the only one playing Magic, it must feel sort of like ostracizing.
There's literally a pipeline. He's just got to wait like 3 or 4 years, and he'll be like the coolest kid.
Oh yeah, everyone, like me myself, I grew up with Pokemon, but I did eventually go through that phase where I felt I was too cool for Pokemon, and that's when I got to Yu-Gi-Oh! And then after that, I'm like, oh, what am I doing? Just do what I love, and I went back to Pokemon. Yeah, and now I'm into Magic. Like I guess it's just like how people change after time. And I'm pretty sure, like, give it a few years, I'm pretty sure he'll convert all his friends.
It's literally an observable, like from the stance of the guy selling it. It's an observable pipeline phenomena. That really little kids start out on Pokemon, then they feel like they're getting too cool for Pokemon, and they usually go to Yu-Gi-Oh! And then they feel like they're getting too cool for Yu-Gi-Oh! So they either stop playing or they go to Magic.
Mm-hmm.
And so you literally can watch kids go through the years, and they'll hit the grades, and it's like going down a checklist. It's just like, all right, kindergarten, Pokemon, 3rd grade, Yu-Gi-Oh!, 6th or 8th grade, whatever, Magic. Bam, done.
I remember about a month ago, there was a giant group of kids and their friends who basically sold their entire Pokemon collection to the shop to get into Magic.
Yeah, and they traded in. I get 1 or 2 of those after. I get 1 or 2 of those before and after Christmas, and after the school year ends, and when the school year begins again. I get like 1 or 2 kids every time who come in because their parents know about the store. They know they can trade in cards, and if you just spend like $2,000 on Pokemon cards over 3 years, you don't want to spend that again.
I mean, the upside is the school also. The shop also has a program where if you get good grades, you get store credit. Yeah. That's pretty big incentive for a lot of the parents.
Yeah, and that definitely brings in some, but it's.
I mean, even Alex went through a transformation where he was a Yu-Gi-Oh player originally. He jumped into Magic, and now he's hooked.
He is hooked. Though, when the shop had that Pokemon pre-release, and then I thought, oh my god, they do pre-releases for that too.
Yeah.
Oh, I hope he doesn't hear about this.
I saw.
Oh yes.
I played that game for a good 8 years. I can understand. Like I still love Pokemon. I just don't agree with a lot of the things that the company's doing, and I do like the complexity of Magic.
So before we end, my last question for you, Rich, would be: if you had to give one piece of advice to a dad or a mom who's
are in the minority.
Yeah. There's while we have a large number of parents in this store comparatively, or I feel we do anyways. I haven't taken a census or anything. It's still like the majority of kids who come in. The parent either sits there and watches them or just leaves. And I'm a babysitter for 2 hours, which I don't like. Please don't do that. It's not cool, especially when you don't show up when you said you were going to, and now I'm sitting here staring at your kid when I just want to go home. Anyways, back on topic is, what would be your advice to that parent?
I would say that parent is missing out on a great opportunity if they feel that they would like to do something like Magic, or if they were at all interested in Magic. If it's a great opportunity to bond with your child, and just be prepared to spend a little bit of money.
I mean,
anything.
Any hobby.
Any hobby.
Yeah. Like basketball, you got to go buy the uniform and the shoes.
Alex does Boy Scouts, and I was a Cub Scout for a while, and I remember that was something my mom was like, all right, I can sew on the patches, or I can pay for them to be sewn on, and either way, it's going to cost me. The uniform's $100.
Pinewood Derby cars aren't cheap.
Yeah,
right. But no, it's a great opportunity to bond with your child.
Yeah,
and just show an interest in what they're doing, and they'll repay you with what is the word I'm looking for?
Easy leverage to make.
Not easy.
Like we were talking about earlier,
they'll enjoy it. They'll enjoy the time and that you're spending with them.
Yeah. I mean, like even like you were saying earlier, it's not just a waste of time where your brain turns into mush. Like you use your brain, you use strategy, you use thinking, and it is like in a way it is like chess. Like it is like sending him to chess camp or whatever.
Except you're also spending time with them, hopefully.
Yeah, you're spending time and you're bonding.
Yeah. So, I mean, that sounds like a positive way to end this off.
You're making memories.
Yes, you are making memories.
Memories with your child.
Now we're going to go to the end of the cleanup step, so go ahead and discard down to 7. So get rid of those memories. Get rid of all of them. Decide the ones you want to keep and get rid of the rest. Reset all damage. And actually, damn, Justin wanted to do that.
It's all good.
All right. Anyways, it's been good getting to chat with you guys. We hope you've had as much fun as we have. We will be back in 2 weeks. We have pre-release coming up this weekend. If you're interested, check out the store's Facebook page.
Again, the store's Comic Collector Shop in Sunnyvale.
And we'll be adding a link to that in Sunnyvale, California. And we're going to be doing 4 events, not including our Two-Headed Giant, between Saturday and Sunday. And we're going to be coming back next week to talk about the GP, what we maybe hope to see from Dominaria, and we have a bunch of other fun shows planned. Super excited, and I'm so happy that we get to do this. And thank you, Rich, for being here and telling us about your experiences.
Well, thank you for inviting me.
All right. Well, have a good night, guys.
Good night.